Ladies and gentlemen, the unthinkable just happened. Papoose, the man known for standing 10 toes down beside Remy Ma through everything, was seen screaming in a hospital hallway. And all doctors could say was, "There's no heartbeat." Wait, what? Remy Ma? The Queen of the Bronx? The Mike Slayer? The ride-or-die legend is now the subject of a medical emergency so intense that hospital staff allegedly had to escort her family out of the ICU after a full-on breakdown. So, what led up to this? Why was Remy admitted in the first place? And why are insiders saying her condition was not natural? One source claims she was rushed in after a mysterious visit from a former friend. Another says leaked security footage captured a heated exchange in her hospital room just hours before she flatlined. And now, Papoose is pointing fingers. He's not just crying, he's demanding names, because what happened in that room might not have been an accident. And if the rumors are true, someone out there wanted Remy Ma gone. Stick around, this gets darker by the second. The hospital was quiet. Too quiet. Fluorescent lights flickered above sterile white floors, and the air smelled like bleach and bad news. Somewhere in that silence, a cry broke through, raw, desperate, and unmistakably familiar. "Do something, please." It was Papoose. The same Papoose who's held Remy down for decades through jail time, industry hate, and personal betrayals. The man who never missed a beat when it came to defending his queen was now sobbing on the hospital floor, begging doctors to bring her back. But they couldn't, because when they checked her pulse, there was no heartbeat. Now, let's rewind, because how we got to this point isn't just heartbreaking. It's suspicious. It's messy. It's one of the biggest bombshells hip-hop has ever seen. According to hospital insiders, Remy was brought in at 3:14 a.m. via private ambulance, not a regular emergency call, but a direct request from a burner phone traced to a known associate of Clarissa Shields. Yes, that Clarissa, the boxer, the woman who's allegedly been training with Papoose during his fitness transformation era. You remember. Now here's where things get weird. When Remy arrived at the ER, she was disoriented, barely able to speak. Her blood pressure was critically low, her breathing rapid and unstable, her pupils dilated. But there were no signs of injury, no trauma, just a rapidly crashing body and no clear explanation. That's when the staff got suspicious. One nurse, speaking anonymously, said she didn't smell like alcohol or drugs. She just looked drained, like her soul had checked out. But the biggest red flag? Her admission report was marked as voluntary collapse. Excuse me? There is no official medical category called voluntary collapse. That's not a diagnosis. That's a cover-up. Meanwhile, hospital surveillance shows Clarissa Shields entering through the back exit just minutes before the ambulance arrived. Dressed in black. No entourage. When security approached her, she flashed a handwritten visitor pass and said, "I'm here for Reminisce." Yes, government name. Real personal. She stayed for exactly 12 minutes, then left without speaking to anyone. And here's where the timeline gets wild. Doctors stabilized Remy temporarily. She was semi-conscious and reportedly whispered the words, "Tell Pat I'm sorry." Sorry for what? Just before she slipped into unconsciousness, her heart monitor spiked, then flatlined. Doctors rushed in. They performed CPR. Injected epinephrine. Used the defibrillator. Nothing. That's when Papoose arrived. He was seen running into the ICU hallway barefoot, in sweatpants, holding a phone in one hand and a tattered notebook in the other. Eyewitnesses say he pushed through 3 nurses and screamed. Where is she? She wasn't supposed to be alone. One security guard had to hold him back as a doctor delivered the worst possible news. We couldn't find a heartbeat. And that's when the folder dropped from Papoose's hand. Inside, allegedly, printouts of messages between Remy and someone labeled Spark Queen. That's the name Clarissa's camp uses on encrypted messaging platforms. Now fans are asking the obvious. Was this more than a health scare? Was this emotional sabotage? Because sources close to the family say Remy had just discovered something that broke her emotionally. One cousin claims Remy had overheard a conversation between Papoose and Clarissa on speakerphone. He was saying, she can't know yet. The cousin told a blog that Remy was standing behind the door. And if that's true, then everything that followed wasn't coincidence. It was collapse by heartbreak. Let's not forget, just days earlier, a blurry photo surfaced online of Clarissa and Papoose entering a hotel in Detroit. The internet ate it up, but both parties denied anything inappropriate. "We're just training together," Clarissa had posted. But the caption didn't explain why she was wearing a robe, or why Papoose looked like he just lost a fight. Back to the hospital. After the defibrillator failed and Remy's vitals showed no signs of recovery, doctors declared her medically unresponsive. Not brain dead, not officially gone, but somewhere between this world and the next. That's when Papoose made a call. Not to a lawyer, not to family, to a journalist. According to a leaked call log, he contacted a private media source from a known underground hip-hop blog. The message: if anything happens to her, publish everything in the folder. So, what's in the folder? Allegedly, it's a collection of text messages, screenshots, photos, and even voice notes spanning the last 6 months. DMs between Clarissa and Pap. Notes Remy wrote to herself. Studio cancellations. Appointment no-shows. Sudden financial transfers from one joint account to an unknown bank in Texas. And in one chilling note, Remy wrote, "I've survived worse. But betrayal, that's what's going to take me out." Now her family's scrambling. Remy's mother reportedly collapsed in the waiting room after hearing the flatline code. Her brother punched a wall. One cousin was escorted out by security for yelling at hospital staff. Meanwhile, fans outside the hospital lit candles, sang lyrics, and held posters that read, "Remy, stay with us." But inside, the doctors were losing hope. As the machines beeped slower and slower, all Papoose could do was whisper, "Come back to me, please." And then the light dimmed. The door closed. The moment froze in time. The door shut. Everything went still. Outside Remy's hospital room, time stood frozen. Doctors weren't speaking. Nurses weren't moving. And Papoose, he wasn't breathing either. Just standing there, fists clenched, staring at the machines that had once echoed with the rhythm of Remy's life. Now silent. But what no one knew, what the hospital still won't talk about, is what happened next. Just 2 minutes after Remy's vitals flatlined, an alert popped up on the hospital's private network. Unauthorized access attempt, ICU server. Someone, somewhere, had tried to access Remy's medical files remotely. No clearance, no login, just brute force. And the location? It pinged from Flint, Michigan, Clarissa's hometown. Coincidence? The hospital's IT department flagged it as suspicious, but instead of reporting it, they were ordered to suppress the alert. A directive that, according to one whistleblower, came from someone high up in hospital management.
Why?
Because Clarissa had donated $100,000 to the hospital's athletic rehab wing just 6 months prior. Let that sink in. While Remy's life was hanging by a thread, someone was trying to delete or dig into her records. And the hospital? Silent. Meanwhile, Papoose wasn't done. He demanded Remy be transferred to a different wing, a secure area. But the doctors refused. "She's too unstable," they said. Too unstable? Or too inconvenient? That's when Papoose made his second move. He called Malik, Detective Malik, a longtime family friend,
Part-time PI.
full-time truth hunter, the man who once helped Papoose track down a stolen tracklist back in the mixtape days. But this time, it wasn't about a beat. It was about Remy. Within hours, Malik began digging hospital logs, staff shifts, visitor ID records. And what he found was damning. A 3-minute window between 2:51 a.m. and 2:54 a.m., just before Remy's collapse, where a visitor badge was issued but never logged out. No name, just the initials, A.L., Amber Lewis. Yeah, that Amber, Remy's former stylist, ex-best friend, the same Amber who stopped appearing in photos 2 months ago after rumors surfaced that she had crossed a line. Apparently, she'd been seen having lunch with Clarissa in Midtown, and Papoose didn't like it. So, what was Amber doing in the hospital? One staff member said she saw Amber walking out of Remy's room that night, hoodie up, phone in hand, shaking. She told a nurse, "She's going to freak when she wakes up." Except Remy never did. And now, fans were starting to connect the dots. Social media exploded with comments. Amber? Clarissa? This is turning into a Lifetime movie. Y'all need to stop saying it's a coincidence. Ain't no such thing in the Bronx. If Papoose drops the receipts, it's over for all of them. And receipts were coming. Just hours later, Papoose dropped a black and white photo on Instagram. No caption, no hashtags, just a grainy image of a phone screen showing a group chat titled, "Her Downfall." Members, yell, CS, and one blurred name that fans zoomed in on and swore looked like J. Mills, Jackson Mills, an online tabloid editor with a reputation for leaking dirt before the body's cold. Now, the question wasn't if this was a setup. It was how long it had been planned. Meanwhile, inside the hospital, Remy's condition hadn't changed. Machines still silent. Monitors flashing red. Family taking turns holding her hand, whispering hope into her ear. But outside, Papoose was building a case. Malik confirmed that Amber had visited the hospital 3 times that week, all without medical necessity. He also confirmed that Clarissa had sent 4 payments of $7,000 each to an unregistered account labeled Love Jail. What is that? Nobody knows. But fans guessed it could be code for Love Jail, the name of a Ghostron track Remy allegedly scrapped a month ago. Why'd she scrap it? Because it hit too close to home. The leaked lyrics? "You say you're training, but I see bruises. You say you're loyal, but I see excuses. If I go down, don't lie at my wake. Just admit you broke me, for clout's sake." And now, those words felt hauntingly literal. Because while Papoose was chasing leads, doctors pulled him aside with one last option: experimental electric stimulation. High risk, low success rate, but a shot at restarting neurological function. He didn't even blink.
"Do it," he said.
And while they prepped the procedure, Papoose stood outside the room, eyes closed, fists shaking. He pulled out his phone and tapped play on an unreleased voicemail. Remy's voice, soft, laughing. "If I ever end up in a hospital, don't be dramatic, okay? Just play this, and remember, I never stopped loving you." He played it 3 times. Then he walked in, took her hand, whispered, "Come back. Don't let them win." They initiated the charge. 1 jolt, nothing. 2nd jolt, still flat. 3rd jolt, beep.
Small, soft, but a beep.
The doctor gasped. The nurse lunged for the monitor. Remy's fingers twitched. Papoose dropped to his knees.
"She's in there," he said.
The moment that beep echoed through the ICU, everything stopped. Doctors froze. Nurses gasped. And Papoose, still on his knees, looked up, tears already streaming down his face. She was alive. Barely, but alive. Remy Ma had a heartbeat. The doctors kicked into overdrive, her vitals still weak, brain activity low. But the fact that her heart restarted on its own? Nothing short of a medical miracle. And outside her room, the real storm was only beginning. Because by now, the internet wasn't just speculating. It was investigating. Fans became digital detectives. Timeline threads, DM leaks, flight records, Reddit sleuths. One even claimed to have hacked into a burner Instagram account tied to Amber. And what they found?
Wild.
Screenshots of hotel invoices. Private messages from an account named CS Knockout saying, "She was always going to fold. I just helped it happen faster." CS equals Clarissa Shields. Knockout, appropriate. But the real shocker? An attached voice note. A woman, sounding exactly like Clarissa. "I'm not stepping back. He was choosing me. I told her to take the loss." Take the loss. Fans were in shambles. Tweets went viral. TikToks exploded. Theories flew, from Clarissa wanted her out the way, to Amber sold the story for a payout. But none of that compared to what happened next. Papoose returned to Instagram. This time not a post. A live video. No filter. No warning. Just him. standing outside Remy's hospital room, a folder in one hand, his wedding ring in the other. I ain't here to play politics. Y'all want answers? Here they are. And he began reading, text between Clarissa and an unnamed number. The timing is perfect. After the next fight, we drop the news. A wire transfer receipt showing Amber received $12,500, labeled consulting. A private audio memo from Remy, recorded weeks ago. If something happens to me, please know. I didn't give up. They just broke me. The comments section lost it. What am I hearing? They tried to erase her. This is bigger than music. This is criminal. And that's exactly what came next. Detective Malik, quiet this whole time, dropped the real bombshell. He traced the anonymous email that attempted to hack Remy's hospital file. It originated from an IP address registered to a private gym in Flint, Michigan. Who trains there? Clarissa Shields. By the next morning, Clarissa was trending across all platforms. Not for a title win, not for a championship, but for a scandal so thick, her publicists quit. Her team denied everything. Clarissa has been nothing but supportive. Any claims to the contrary are false and defamatory. But the damage was done. Amber's apartment? Swarmed by media. Jackson Mills, the shady tabloid editor? Subpoenaed. And fans? They were calling for sponsors to drop Clarissa. 2 already did. Meanwhile, Remy remained unconscious, but stable. The doctors couldn't explain the comeback. The hospital therapist called it emotional resilience. But Papoose? He just called it unfinished. Business? Far from over. Because the final piece dropped when Malik dug deeper into that $12,500 payment Amber received. It didn't come from Clarissa directly. It came from a PR firm called Apex Influence, an agency notorious for cleaning up celebrity scandals with spin and strategy. Apex's biggest client? Jackson Mills. Which means the media leaks, the anonymous sources,